This program is rated PG. It contains themes and scenes which may not be suitable for very young audiences. Parental guidance is advised.
We're working to connect a region of over 600 million bridges between our lands.
Welcome to ASEAN in Focus Weekend Edition. I'm Kaloy Tabunda from the New Era University ASEAN Studies Center. This afternoon we are really very lucky to have with us the Ambassador of Israel to the Philippines, and he is here in the program for the second time, Ambassador Rafael Harpaz. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Welcome to the program once again.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be back in this program.
Okay. First question about the Israel-Philippine relations. When Typhoon Haiyan hit the Philippines several years back, one of the very first countries to extend assistance to the Filipinos was Israel. And Israel is so far away from the Philippines. Why? How do you explain that?
I think we have special bonds. We are very proud that in 2013 we could bring hundreds of people here, field hospital here. Whenever I go in the Philippines, both in Visayas, in Mindanao, in Luzon, people tell you, thank you. And so many babies were born here and named Israel.
Oh, yes.
We have special relations that goes many years backwards. We have the Filipinos, thousands of Filipinos working in Israel. We have the Jews that were absorbed here and received here during the Holocaust. And when we need to extend our hand to such a friendly country, we were almost the first on the spot. It was a big tragedy for the Philippines, this typhoon, and I'm happy that we could be really first on the ground and you know, with hospitals, with nurses, with the best doctors in the world in order to help you dealing with this terrible ordeal.
You mentioned about during the time of the Holocaust, when the Philippines hosted Israeli refugees here in the Philippines. That's one of the, not really untold, but that's a story that's not known by many Filipinos. Can you expound on that?
This is a fascinating story. When Jews were persecuted in Germany, in Nazi Germany, in the end of the 1930s, the doors of other countries were closed to them. They have nowhere to go. And there was one leader that came up, President Manuel Quezon, and says, I'm opening the doors for Jews to come. Jews couldn't come because Germany didn't let them go, the German Nazi. 1,300 of them were found refuge here. We will always remember it. We will never forget it. That's why we have actually an official monument in Israel, near Tel Aviv, in the town of Rishon LeZion, the Open Door Monument. I was honored to take President Rodrigo Duterte on a historic visit to Israel in September to visit this monument. We had a ceremony there. It symbolized the unique bonds that got our countries together. And the story of saving the Jews here is a fascinating story. I'm telling it in any occasions that I have, and it became, I think, more people are know about it in the Philippines and in the world now.
Yeah, we have to tell that story more, because many Filipinos don't know about that.
It's just because the leadership of President Quezon, it's a role model for leaders all over the world. It's way beyond the Philippines. Philippines should know it because it's their history. But if other leaders were acting like President Quezon, then, you know, 6 million Jews perished in the Holocaust. 1.5 million of them were children. Maybe many of them could be saved.
So where are these? Where are the descendants of these refugees now?
Well, they are now all over the world, as you know. I can tell you a story. When President Duterte went to Israel, at the last leg, we went to this open door monuments.
That was last year,
in September last year, and we were walking towards the monument. We approached, they put few chairs there, and they took us directly to an elderly Israeli, 91 years old, which had a Filipino caregiver. Now, I didn't know who it is. They introduced him to President. President shook his hand, and the Israeli started speaking Tagalog. Now, we didn't understand. He's one of the few that were saved here in the late of the 1930s that is still alive, living in Israel, speaking Tagalog. What an amazing, that tells the story. I was shivering. I was shivering. My president was amazed. This is the story. This what tells our story. And I think that you know that the president himself, you know, his wife, his daughter is a great. His daughter Sarah is a great father. Is one of the Jews that were saved in the Holocaust. It's a Zimmerman family. It's one of them that were saved. It's a wonderful story that should be told more.
So Zimmerman actually is Jew.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, that's the first time I heard about
that.
Yeah,
Elizabeth Zimmerman. She was a Jew, and her daughter is Sarah Duterte.
So that story needs to be.
He told the president spoke about it in Israel. We are. I'm telling you, it's a fascinating story. A leadership of a president, opening the doors to Jews, which is a role model for all of us.
So right now there are many Filipinos in Israel. Yeah. They're working as
caregivers. But first I want to thank the Philippine people and the Filipinos in Israel. We have approximately 30,000 Filipinos.
30,000 Filipinos
that are working in Israel. They are caregivers. They take care of our most beloved family members, because Filipinos you can bring overseas workers only for elderly people at need with special permit, and with people with disabilities. So the 30,000 are carefully picked, and they are taking care of our most beloved people. We thank them. We appreciate them. They are part of our society. We are respecting them. We treat them well. They have their churches, they have their food, restaurants, culture, and they are part. We love them, and I want to thank them. Take this opportunity to thank them. There are 30,000 ambassadors for the Philippines in Israel.
And generally, how do Israelis now regard Filipinos?
They love the Philippines. There are so many reasons why they love it. I think first, as I mentioned, you have those tens of thousands of Filipinos in Israel, and you have your tourists, which is also a big segment of it. But then we have the number of Israeli tourists to the Philippines is growing rapidly. You are friendly. You are hospitality. The culture. You are warm, like Israelis. You are friendly. You invite people to their homes. So we love the Philippines. It's wonderful.
So our peoples are both friendly, hospitable. What do you think do Filipinos and Israeli share together?
I think we share many things. We share values together, many values of freedom, of democracy, of respect to the other. But I think what is so unique is the base, the core of the Filipino society is the family, and the core of the Israeli society is the family.
So you're also family-oriented.
It reminds me exactly an Israeli family when I look at Filipino family, and being friendly, being warm. I think it's something very, very common.
Okay, we go back. We go now to the official diplomatic relations between our two countries.
Sure.
How do you describe that?
Well, it's also a great story. I've been here for a bit more than 6 months. I came just before President Duterte flew to his historic trip to Israel. It's very good relations, it's very deep relations, it's very diverse relations. The topic of the relation, it's not a one-topic relations. We have very good political relations, we have very good economic relations. Overseas workers, I mentioned already, agriculture, our counter-terrorism cooperation, tourism, energy. So it's a vast and diverse issues, many bilateral agreements. Relationships are very well, development assistance, training. We are doing very well. Very well. I have no complaints the other way around. It just gives us a lot of work.
So you're happy with the existing state of diplomatic relationship between the two countries?
They are very high level. We are very high level relations, and the visit enable us to move forward in many areas. I see the enormous interest among the Israeli private sector to do business in the Philippines, to have joint ventures, to have investment. I see the number of Filipino tourists that goes to Israel. I don't know if you have been to Israel, but you don't need to do any paperwork.
I hope to be there soon.
You can fly today. You know why? Because you don't need visa.
Oh.
I know Filipinos need visa to many countries in the world. To Israel, no need for visa.
Has that been going on overseas? There's no visa requirement for
no visa, and also for Israelis coming to the Philippines. So it demonstrates many other countries need a visa to Israel. This demonstrates our unique relations, and the numbers of pilgrims from the Philippines that going to Israel is growing a lot, and not just because we are the Holy Land. You know, for every Filipino at the time it's in his bucket list to go. But also because...
I like that. It's in the bucket list of most Filipinos to go to
and actually
Jerusalem.
more and more are going. But many people go just to see, the beautiful nature, the vibrant life in Tel Aviv, the historic things in Jerusalem, the Sea of Galilee, the Dead Sea. So there are so many things. It's just a small country.
Okay, we will talk more about the different aspects of Philippine-Israeli relations when ASEAN in Focus Weekend Edition returns.
When visiting the Philippines, Manila or Quezon City is a popular destination. But oftentimes the hustle and bustle of the city can be more stressful on your vacation. So when you feel the need to reconnect to nature or relax again, there's a beautiful oasis just outside of the city called the Garden at Ciudad de Victoria. That you can see here include hydrangea, snapdragon, and stargazers. They're truly beautiful. The gardens at Ciudad de Victoria are so peaceful, tranquil, and beautiful that it's become a haven for young couples and a very popular venue for engagement photos. The next time you want an escape from the big city, the garden at Ciudad de Victoria is a wonderful place to visit.
Okay, welcome back to ASEAN in Focus Weekend Edition, and we still have our interview here with His Excellency, the Ambassador of Israel to the Philippines, His Excellency Rafael Harpaz. Okay, I would like to go back to our previous discussion on what happened in 1939. Of course, President Quezon opened the doors for Israeli Jews here. And then after that, what happened?
Well, in 1947, the United Nations General Assembly had to vote, on the 29th of November 1947, have to vote yes or no for a Jewish state.
Okay.
Philippine President, President Rojas, great leader, despite arguments, why not, whatever, voted yes with many other countries in the world, and that's why I'm standing here today as the Ambassador of Israel. The crucial moment in our history. And there were countries, they were opposing it, Arab countries and some others. Philippines, with your legendary president in Israel, said yes. Every time that I'm in Malacanang, you go to the reception hall in Malacanang, when you have the portraits of the family, of the president, I take the Israeli delegations and I show them the portraits of President Quezon and President Rojas to show how a decision was such a historic impact. And when President Duterte paid his historic visit to Israel, both decisions of President Quezon and President Rojas was standing there in the background of the visit. And from our side, you have mentioned before Yolanda.
Yes, yes.
That was also present there, and our close cooperation in counterterrorism was standing there. So this is a real friendship and deep cooperation and a historic bond between our two people.
Okay, fast forward to present. We have, both our countries are, beset with, security issues, For the Philippines, we have the problem in Muslim Mindanao. So how does Israel look at this one?
Well, first of all, the terror attack in Solo, in Hulu, we were heartbroken by this. We convey very fast our condolences. Terrorism today is not a problem of one country. It's not even a regional problem. Okay. It's a global problem.
Yes.
It's in Europe, it's in North America, it's in Southeast Asia, it's in the Middle East, and we should combine forces in combating terrorism. You can't surrender for terrorism. And we congratulate you, the Philippines, from the Bangsamoro Organic Law, which is a very, very important historic step. We are very happy. I've been to Davao, and I must tell you, I enjoyed it very much. I took 23 Israeli travel agents to a roadshow in Davao, in Mindanao, and I see the Israeli companies very active in agriculture areas in the Mindanao. So we just pray for good news to the Philippines.
So we're not talking business in the relationship between our two countries. So is there an active Israeli chamber of business here?
Yeah, we are blessed. This is a very growing chamber of commerce.
Okay.
They are playing a major role. You know, we government can do up to a certain degree. You need a support of both the semi-governmental players and the private sector. They are an important tool for people to do a business between the two countries. Just we hosted last week 11 big Israeli companies from the agriculture, agro-industry and water technologies. There were almost 150 businessmen from the Philippines that came to meet with them to discuss business to business. Our role as a government is to create the conditions to help those private sector doing it, and the Chamber of Commerce is playing a vital role in this.
So is there any commitment, or is there any ongoing actual project now?
There are many. When it comes to agriculture, certainly. Just this visit, if you saw in the media, generated a few actually amazing projects when it comes to drip irrigation and dairy farm, which is very important. Irrigation is crucial. Israeli companies active here in all the high-tech realm. Cyber is another area. When you travel, wherever you travel in the Philippines, you are using Waze.
Okay.
Waze is ours, was created by two Israeli young engineers.
Okay, take note of that. Waze is an Israeli invention, and we use that here in the Philippines.
Yeah, which we are very proud. And it started as a small startup, and you see how everybody, wherever I go in the world, say, God bless Waze, you know.
Okay, one of the hallmarks of Israel now is your advancement in agriculture, in spite of Israel being, you know, lacking resources. You have arid land mostly, and you lack water. But you're now one of the most agriculturally productive nations on earth. How are you sharing that with the Philippines?
Well, it's, you know, first we are, you know, the Israeli agriculture. If you look at photos of Israel 100 years ago, it was desert. Today it's green. And the reason is that really we pay a lot of attention. Agriculture is the base of a society. And we are number one in the world in planting trees. You can't knock down a tree without planting another tree.
Okay.
So every cow that we milk, it's computerized. You know exactly when she's going to give milk, how much milk. It sounds weird, but that's why our cows are all of them.
Cows are implanted
all
with
of them. This is today. Today comes, and this is an air. So we bring our experts here. We are bringing our experts to train the trainers.
Okay.
And the Israeli private sector is also coming in, both to the post-harvest, which is very, very important. I know how much agriculture is important. On the other end, we are bringing every year, more than 600 Filipinos are going for one-year program in Israel. It's part of the university studies in agriculture colleges. They come and they combine work and studying. And they come back and they can implement what they learn.
Perhaps you can invite our College of Agriculture, the New Era University. We have a newly established College of Agriculture.
Walang problema.
Okay, you heard that. So we will have students from our school to study agriculture.
And technology. We bring our experts here.
Okay.
Which is much. But then two experts can train hundreds of people.
Okay.
I can tell you that I was exposed to your. You have wonderful. We have, like for example, durian. We don't have durian in Israel, for example. You have things like this, and you have actually a wonderful vegetable and some fruits.
Okay, energy. Is Israel you don't really have energy resources?
That's what people are thinking. You know, I was growing up as a child, knowing all our neighbors, Arab neighbors, have the oil. We had zero. So God decided not to give us oil. Thanks God. In 2011, we find an enormous amount of natural gas, the biggest gas field in the Mediterranean that was discovered in the 20th century, offshore from Israel. The name of it is Leviathan, in Hebrew, whale. And we find 2 additional gas fields. What it means that first we are exporting, we became an exporters of natural gas. And Israel is going to be already now self-sufficient when it comes to natural gas, which is an unbelievable story for us. It also forcing us to adapt our industries to be more environmental friendly. It will bring us a lot of income. We need to know how to deal with it, that our currency won't be too strong, that it won't harm our research and development, it won't harm our exports. And also the same company, the same people that discovered this big oil field are the ones that will start searching for oil and gas in the Sulu Sea. It's a private company that is doing it.
So it's starting now?
They signed already the agreement. It's a long process. It will take a few years. We'll see how it will develop. The bottom line, our role as a government is to create the conditions for them. I know I spoke with your president about it. It's also important for the Philippines, like Israel, to be self-sufficient when it comes to your resources. And we are almost there when it comes to natural gas. It's a dream. It's something that we couldn't imagine. And actually they're saying that there's a potential for finding more fields in Israel. We still need oil, but our dependence in oil is decreasing because our industries are moving to natural gas, which is more environmental friendly and it's cheaper.
Okay, so it's a private Israeli firm that is partnering with the Filipino company in oil exploration in the Sulu Sea.
Yeah, sure.
I'm just curious, before you discovered your natural gas and oil reserves, where did you source your oil?
Mainly, I was ambassador to Azerbaijan. Azerbaijan is the main supplier of oil to Israel. And we got but today, you know, in the private market, so but that was the main, most of it came from there. Okay,
you mentioned earlier you went to Davao with a group of travel agencies. So how marketable you think is the Philippines in terms of tourism to Israel?
Well, first, you don't need visa to Israel, and which is unique. Israelis doesn't need visa to here. We have, for example, just give an example, we had the program Lost. Which Lost is a reality program. Was filmed here in the Philippines. For every Israelis are watching it, and it's here in Palawan, for example. So it became a major destination for Israelis for honeymoon, for after military service trips, and just for family trips. For Filipinos going to Israel, it's the Holy Land, it's pilgrimage, but also business and you know, visiting the relatives that are living there. PAL announced, and I hope it will happen in the coming months, that there are going to be direct flights. Today you need to go, and it's easy, by the way, without direct flights. You go to Hong Kong or to Bangkok or to Seoul, and you fly to Israel. But the direct flight will be easier.
Okay, so Philippine Airlines will soon be opening a direct flight from Manila to Tel Aviv.
They are working on it. They still have bureaucracy, but they are on the right way.
Do you have any idea how many Israeli tourists come here?
Then last year it's 20,000. My guess is, I'd give you to Thailand, we have every year 250,000 Israelis. And we have direct flights. The moment the direct flights will be open, I can imagine what will happen in both directions. Again, the fact that there is no need for visa is crucial. It's crucial, and it will bring more investments, joint ventures. You know, it's much more than just tourism. You know, it's much more cargo. People will go to Israel, to the Jerusalem, and continue to visit the Vatican, for example, or to Europe. You know, so the potential is enormous. But I see in both directions, the numbers of tourists. There are 30,000 Filipinos. Tourists in Israel every year, and additionally 30,000 Filipinos working in Israel. And the numbers are increasing. The tendency is increasing. Actually, today we are participating in a big exhibition in Cebu with a national booth.
So Israel is open to Filipinos for overseas Filipino workers.
Also in tourism, by the way. We just, a follow-up of the visit of your president, the first country in the world, the first country that we signed the G2G agreement, government-to-government agreement, to enable foreign overseas workers to work in tourism, which we didn't open yet, was Filipinos.
Why? Why do you think? Why do you like Filipinos?
Because hospitality.
Okay.
You know, service, and we have good, very amazing experience with the Filipinos, which are working as caregivers, and also the language, and people, you know, highly educated. It's, you know, it's based on our experience, which is a wonderful experience. So I'm so proud as an ambassador, the first country from all. You know how many countries are coming to us and ask, we would like to have this agreement as you signed in the Philippines about caregivers and tourism. So we are blessed with this.
So you like Filipinos?
Yeah, we like, and also we need, because the number of tourists in Israel is booming. We broke the record last year. We have 4.2 million tourists in Israel, a country of 9 million people.
Yes,
just imagine.
Smaller than Metro Manila.
Yeah. So we need we don't have enough people to work in tourism.
And you're very positive during your term as ambassador here to increase, you know, the number of Filipinos going there.
Already, I see
Israelis going here.
Yeah, generally this is the trend. You know, when we are doing our utmost, and the fact that I'm here also is to tell you, go and visit the Holy Land. I think you will enjoy it. And as I mentioned before, it's in the bucket list of almost every Filipino.
It's in my bucket list also.
Yeah.
Okay, we will talk more about the different issues confronting Israel-Philippine relations and other topics when ASEAN in Focus Weekend Edition returns.
Thank you. Excellent. Tell me.
Abangan nyo ako dito sa Young Once Upon a Time Season 2 ngayong linggo alas 8 ng gabi dito lang sa Net25.
Narito po ang mga dapat ninyong abangan.
Kaya sa martial arts, may word kami.
Ano?
On guard. Ito, comeback to ngayon. Yung working title was Tuldok. Pero yung nakita na namin yung potential to sell it outside, nag-isip kami ng American title.
Yes.
Point. Yan, di ba? So, exit point.
Perfume dessert po is perfume shop from London. Kaya po nag-accept po kami online ng mga reseller and distributors.
Lahat ng yan dito sa programang punong-puno ng pagmamahal, Moments!
Hi everyone! Word Hope will be having all new episodes very, very soon. We can't wait for all of you to join us again as we learn many, many things. We will have loads of fun learning new words and values as well. So, stay tuned to Net25 Kids every Saturday and Sunday, 8:30 to 9 a.m. only on Net25.
Pep News, Linggo, alas 4 hanggang alas 5 ng hapon.
Okay, welcome back to our very interesting interview here with Ambassador Rafael Harpaz, the Ambassador of Israel to the Philippines. You mentioned in one of our earlier segments that Israel is a start-up country. Why is this?
We consider to be the startup nation because if you see the number of startups companies, we are #1 per capita in the world. You go to Tel Aviv, you go to Jerusalem, you see 100. Our mentality is to look for the new thing. We don't have one big, huge company that holds the country, but a lot of mid-sized companies. So many exits in Israel. Our R&D, research and development, as part of our economy, is the biggest in the world. 4.5% of our economy is research and development. This is Israel. Number of patents per capita, highest in the world. Nobel Prize laureates were 11, including in chemistry, in biology, So this is Israel: education, 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 and we used to be the 1950s an agriculture country. Still agriculture, we are excelling in agriculture, but most of our economy is mid-tech and high-tech.
Okay.
This is our base, and today the world. We are moving to a digital world, dealing with big data, with internet, with cell phones, with everything. You see, cyber. We are an international power when it comes to cyber protection. Another area that we are cooperating with the Philippines.
Can you specify some of the specific areas where you have cooperation with the Philippines in terms of, IT?
Well, first, it's the private sector that is working here.
Okay.
Whether it's billing or where it's cyber protection. Today all of us are vulnerable for cyber attacks. Critical infrastructure, energy, banks, hospitals. Everything today is vulnerable. You see it all over the world. This is the reality, and you need to protect yourself. And Israel has the greatest technology. Actually, a big delegation from your Ministry of Interior has participated in a conference headed by your Deputy Secretary of Interior of a big cyber conference and business opportunities in Israel to see how we can cooperate. Because today, it's a global challenge. It's not the future, it's the present.
It's the present.
The present.
Okay. Israel is such a resource-starved country, but you have emerged one of the most powerful and richest countries in the world. How do you explain this? What's the reason?
Well, there are things that you are forced to do when you don't have natural resources. For example, water.
Okay.
Every Israeli in his DNA, if you see a water pipe open, to shut it down.
Unlike here.
I don't know. I remember there were periods that told you have to take a shower, very fast shower when I was a child, because our climate is that you don't have enough water. So what is the solution? Is to create new sources of water. And we have the Mediterranean. And today, almost all the home water consumption in Israel comes from desalination installation. You take water from the sea, it's Israeli technology, and we are the leading country in the world. But that's not enough. What you do about agriculture? 85% of our sewage water is recycled for irrigation. 85%. Again, we are the #1 in the world. We are forced to do it. We are forced because there is not enough water in Israel. Here is another area which we have a very strong cooperation with the Philippines. Your challenges of water or water management, it's for your challenge is water management and water security. And for example, the new Clark City, one of the subcontractors of the water management of it is one big Israeli company.
Okay.
Drip irrigation. In Mindanao, again, Israel invented the drip irrigation. It's something they are doing already for many, many years. So this is two examples of areas of we are willing to share our experience with the Philippines.
Okay, you do miracles with water. You're not water deficient anymore, I suppose so.
Yeah, we are still having this. Yeah, but we are still very cautious, because at the end you need to have enough reserve. So there is no lack. We don't have enough rain. These climate changes, which have influence here, have also influence here. But at least nobody is thirsty.
Anyway, so you get your drinking water now from the sea.
Yeah, most of them. Yeah.
Okay. We're familiar with Manila Bay, and there's an ongoing cleanup in Manila Bay. How do you think Israel can help in, reclaiming back the beauty of Manila Bay, the pureness of Manila Bay?
I spoke with some of the secretaries here in the Philippines, and I'm encouraged how much today environmental issues are important, are a priority. Manila Bay is a wonderful bay. I took few weeks ago the tour to Corrado Island, which I recommend everybody just to learn the history of the country. And you see how the beauty of the bay, and cleaning the bay is very important. We had the challenges, especially in our early years, that environmental issues were not, we were building a country, And now we pay a lot more attention for it, and we also were a process on cleaning of some we don't have rivers. So I welcome it. Israeli companies have some technology that can help. in the process, and I think it's a very, and I congratulate the Philippine government for taking this decision. I can imagine the tourists walking on the sidewalk there near Rizal Park on Rojas Boulevard, and it's clean. I think it's one, and it's something feasible. I think it's a wonderful project.
So have you actually approached our government
There is Israeli
officials?
companies that are dealing with the authorities.
So you're very positive that Manila Bay will be
well,
closed.
again, I don't know what's the process, but I can tell you it's a blessed. It's just a blessing to do it, because it's a wonderful place, the Manila Bay.
You're here for the last six months already. So how do you find the Philippines so far? What places have you been to?
I've been in Mindanao. I've been to Cebu. Been to Pampanga. I'm doing a lot of trips. Amazing country. It's a big country. It's an archipelago. It's different, you know.
Very much different from Israel.
Such a friendly part. Whenever you tell them you are coming from Israel, you know, people, you know, and I actually was born in Jerusalem, so even for them, you know, you come from the city where Jesus Christ.
Jerusalem always rings a bell for regular Filipinos.
And a lot of appreciation for our activities, and mainly in, when you mentioned Yolanda, but agriculture, thousands of Filipinos were trained in Israel, and the overseas workers. I see how important it is for the Filipinos of what they are doing there. So I'm blessed. It's a wonderful country. It's great for tourism, and it's good that you are keeping it. At, you know, like Boracay. You know,
Boracay. Have you been to Boracay?
It's you know, there are places that you are exploiting them, and they become so much. You use the charm because they're becoming so common. And what you are doing is exactly what you need to do. Because when the millions of tourists will come, then those places will be destroyed. You know, there's always this dilemma. We have it also in Israel. So many tourists coming to Jerusalem. Then how do you balance between maintaining the charm and having all those developments?
Sustainable
so we are facing the same challenge, and I think the right thing to do is really to have this cautious to preserve, and I think it's very important.
Okay, before we end this segment, how will you sell Philippines to Israelis?
This is an easy one to sell, I tell you why. Because you have 30,000 ambassadors in Israel, the overseas workers in Israel. We love them. And then when Israelis think about the Philippines, they think first about the overseas workers, which really takes care. And I want to reiterate it, about our most beloved people, our parents and grandparents. And then they see the photos of Palawan, Boracay, Bohol, Cebu, Manila, and they just want to come. And I see the numbers growing, so it's wonderful.
And you're very positive that once the direct flights between our two countries operate, the more Israelis will be coming.
Well, we have the experience with other countries. You can fly today from Israel to Israel from almost every country in the region. From India, we have daily flights. From from Hong Kong, you have several airlines that are flying. When you open the line, immediately it encourages. So the question is how big it will go. I just hope that they will start it, you know, in the coming months. I really hope so. And I congratulate PAL for moving forward with this decision.
Okay, we will talk more about the different issues confronting Israel when Nation in Focus Weekend Edition returns.
Good.